Hey everybody, this is a video between me and my brother. It was meant to be a podcast, our first podcast, but I lost the audio. But the video itself, just from filming it, turned out to be pretty funny. It is about recovery, but it also has a lot of our stories. Couple different things we talk about, like his novel and his story being a gay man in the 90s and things like that. It's pretty good. I thought it was funny and definitely has some useful information on recovery as well as many other things. And like I said, my brother, Donnie, written a novel, so this is also us trying to get that out there. So I hope you guys like it.
Introduce the podcast.
Ooh, it's about to.
Well,
Jeez. All right. Welcome to this podcast about recovery that I'm doing with Donnie, my brother.
yeah. Hi.
Donnie Disruptor, as he goes by.
That was a childish nickname that I gave myself when I was drinking. In sobriety, it is Donnie Clark, and I need to change that.
Yeah.
I'm Donnie Clark everywhere but Facebook, but nobody uses Facebook, so who cares?
Well, I still use Facebook.
Gross.
And nothing else.
All
I'm
right,
having to
well,
learn how to use social
speaking
media.
of the early bird special, my penis thoughts.
Yeah, if you didn't know it, he's gay.
Hope you demonetize with that.
Well, probably. What are we going to monetize?
I can't get enough out of it. I really have to suck, though. I know, curl the balls. Crinkling the balls works.
For those of you who can't see, he's drinking out of a penis glass.
Sorry. I don't know what else. I've been waiting for a chance to use it, and Thanksgiving seems inappropriate.
Anyway, this is the first podcast I'm doing with him.
And he's regretting it already.
It's similar to other stuff I do on my channel, only it's going to be a lot less censored, I guess, because...
Censored?
Well, yeah, because I do censor myself, so stuff going on YouTube gets censored.
I mean, I don't really need to censor myself. I think we'll be okay. I don't say anything too wild. This is going to be about addiction recovery.
Yes, make sure you...
And my artistic endeavors. Alright, anyway,
yeah, we were having trouble with his mic, so he's deciding to hold it now.
I'm the worst.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway...
Always a little flat, but funny.
He's a huge drug addict. And
I was a huge drug addict.
He still is.
Now my brain pathways are just a little bit, I would say labyrinthine now. Labyrinthine. I think it's the proper pronunciation of it.
Labyrinthine?
Labyrinthine.
Labyrinthian.
As in having the qualities of a labyrinth. Labyrinthine.
It just doesn't...
I know it doesn't really roll off the tongue, but you have to embrace the words. But anyway, there's a little Bowie in the back of my head all the time, just waiting. That's what drugs will do to you kids. Do you want the Goblin King in your head forever?
I have had it in my head forever because you're my brother forever.
He's asleep right now, but if you mention crystal meth, he just pops up.
Yeah. He did crystal meth for 2 years. But then he did cocaine for a long time.
2 years. You thought it was 2 years?
I thought it was 2 years you did meth.
No.
How long was it?
No. Okay, I started drinking, and then I did a little bit of coke, and then they told me that I had the manager at Starbucks, my manager, and he was like, oh, it's okay, because we're doing day drinking after the morning shift. We'd go straight to JR's in Dallas, where I unfortunately spent a lot of my youth. And we would go there and have, like, Grand Marnier orange juice shots, and it would be okay, because it would be, like, brunchy stuff, And he's like, well, this is, like, it's just, like, you've done coke. It's just, like, super coke, and they just make it out of allergy medicine. And I was like, okay, because, hello, 2002, 21-year-old Donnie.
Yeah.
And, so we started doing that, and I was staying out for days and days, just, hanging out. We would watch old gay classics, just, like, rewatch Steel Magnolias over and over again, or, like, entire seasons of Buffy until you learned all the lines. And then, you don't see the demons until the 4th day. If you go to sleep on the 3rd day, you will miss the demons, but the portals begin to open on the 4th day. Sorry, I was just going to talk about alcohol, but I guess the meth really happened first before I became a serious alcoholic.
Yep.
Yeah. So I did meth from 2002 to 2007. Off and on. Like, pretty heavy those last couple of years, though. The last couple of years, like, I had it all the time.
I never did meth. Never got
No, I'm so glad you didn't. But you did.
I did a lot of speed.
Copious amounts of Adderall, which I know it's really highly controversial. That's basically like baby meth, like baby aspirin. Baby meth is Adderall. It even says amphetamine salts on the pill. And people just pretend like it's not a thing. I'm like, no. Because, if you have a friend that actually has ADHD and you would give them meth, which I did, they would go to sleep. Because it's so much different. Like the Adderall and Ritalin stuff, that calms them down and makes them regular because it's baby meth. If you give, like my old roommate, horrible. I gave, he was bouncing off the walls all the time, could not focus, and he, I found out later because it was early. We didn't really know that much about ADHD in 2002. It wasn't really a big thing. I mean, nobody was autistic in 2002.
We didn't know anything in 2002 because there was no Google.
No, there was no Google. It was all books. If you didn't have a book, you didn't. And I was the nerd that took all the books to the parties and sit in the corner with various compendiums and tomes. But yeah, I gave it to him, and he literally, we were moving that day, and I thought it would, we didn't know. I thought it was like, we're all doing a little bit of meth we found under the bed because we were moving all my stuff from that old apartment. We found some bags, and he took some from one of them, passed out in the U-Haul. The whole goddamn day, and we were like, what the fuck? Because me and Kerm were like, woohoo! We're moving! Woo! You're moved on crystal meth. It is so much fun.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. Until you crash.
I only made it every 3 days. Then I had to use opiates to crash. So I'd mix them.
Opiates were always your baby. You did it, baby. You love opiates. I mean, you weren't really an alcoholic. You were an opiate.
I did not really start. I was always a heavy drinker, but I didn't start out with alcohol until after I quit opium. Is when I turned to alcohol so I could sleep because the demons wouldn't leave me alone.
I became a much heavier drinker after I quit meth. I didn't realize what I was doing, and there wasn't really any cocaine around. I didn't have a lot of extra money, so I didn't really. Coke was always just around because I was, to tell the listening audience, I was a club kid basically. I graduated high school in 2000, went straight out to the goth clubs and the rave clubs. I was the Church and the Lizard Lounge in Dallas. The Church is an institution. It's closed now, sadly.
I'm sorry, I remember when that happened.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good Latimer. It was an institution, and we went there every Sunday and Thursday, different outfits, makeup, clothes, hair, everything. It was, our whole life revolved around that. So cocaine was always around. But there was always, there would be the coke. There was always, that inside bizarre judgment that happens between addicts where it's like, oh, well, at least I don't do that. I mean, yeah. I'll drink 10 Long Island iced teas, but look at him.
Well, at least
she's dancing till 4 a.m, and we all know why. And I'm like, who are you to judge?
I do Oxycontin. At least I don't do heroin. It's like, well, I snort heroin. At least I don't bang it. Well, I bang heroin. At least I don't.
Yeah,
I don't murder people.
Me and my old middleman / best friend, Donnie May, she rest in pieces. She's smiling up at us right now from hell. But she was, sorry, we used to misgender each other all the time, so I might do that from time to time, talking about the club scene, because Donnie May would prefer it if I called him a she. Girl. She was always, like, we're not junkies, we don't smoke it. We would always cut it up and snort it, which if you tell people that, they're horrified because snorting meth is one of the most painful things you can do. It's just like snorting little glass shards. So what I had a Clinique compact. I took the makeup out, and I would put the bag of meth in there with a really nice fresh razor blade and a straw cut on the bias, because it fit in the thing better. But also it came in handy too for snorting. But yeah, and I would just take that to work with me at Whole Foods, and then go in the bathroom, I have to go to the bathroom and chop up lines on my little mirror compact and snort that. But it feels like getting punched in the face. And then you have to lean back, dude, just wait for it to just burn and burn and burn. But we weren't junkies because we didn't smoke it. And then, of course, there were always the people that injected it, the slammers. And he had lost a boyfriend to that. Usually the people we knew that started injecting it would disappear. Like, we wouldn't know what happened to them. They'd start kind of, sometimes turning tricks, but we didn't really know for sure, and they'd just vanish. And so it was always really scary. If you found out somebody had slammed it, you're like, oh, goodbye, girl. We're never going to see Larry again.
Yeah,
But we're always so proud of ourselves for just, God, it's just the most, there's just nothing like the hubris of addiction.
Yeah, you always find some excuse until you're at the bottom and you're doing the things you said you never do.
I never said I wouldn't do anything.
I would never be able
to. I never made any promises. I didn't have to keep it.
I was like, well, I'd never be able to drink a case of beer a day. That changed pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would always just think it was gross when people would drink a case of beer because I had my very delicate fifth or handle of vodka. Very delicate, fruit flavored, delicate, ladylike raspberry brunettes
Well, the problem with me,
hiding
of
in the
course,
Sprite.
I
Everywhere
I drank a case of beer because if I did get the vodka, I would have it done in a couple of hours.
Well,
And
you
I'd be
didn't
dead.
do because you insisted on drinking everything as if it were water.
Yes, quick as possible.
He's doing it right now with the Monster, ladies and gentlemen. He's crushing the can in his hand, trying to make it come out faster, even though there's really no reason. Because we can't get any higher. It's high on life now. It's high flying in that middle frequency.
Okay.
Thing that I learned from my therapist. Because what? Yeah, remember because we got that free healthcare because we're basically like indigent.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for our mother, we'd be living in a dumpster.
Yes.
Yeah, words that.
I did live in a
All
dumpster.
hail Marquita, she's the best. But she got us enrolled in this awesome program called JPS Connections, and we were able to get a certain amount of free sessions out of it. And I've had therapy before, but I got that one lady, Constance, and she was talking. I was always upset because I couldn't get. I felt everything felt boring, and she was like, "Well, you're used to going like these super lows and super highs, and you have no idea that most people exist in the middle frequency." She's like, "You're just discovering for the first time because you've been an addict for so long what actual life is like." And you know what the sickest, saddest part of it all is that this whole time, you know what regular life feels like? Being drunk and a little high on coke at the same time. I wasted so much money just to feel alive.
Really?
Yeah. The nervousness, the confusion, it's all the same. It's basically mixing an upper and a downer. When you're mixing an upper and a downer, all you're doing is you're trying to break through reality just to get right back to it again. That's all it is. You're just sitting right in it all over again. It's a cruel trick. Because when you get drunk, you're like, oh god, I'm so fucked up. And then you do a little coke, you're like, oh, that's a little better. And you get a little nervous, and you're like, oh, I gotta drink a little bit more. You're just trying to get back down to a happy medium all the time. Like people that are, like also, everyone's like smoking weed with the dab pens now, and then they drink a bunch of iced coffee. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're just trying to get normal. That's just putting yourself right back to normal. So, stop wasting money, kids.
I mean, I always just aim for euphoria.
You aim for unconscious. I mean regular addicts. I don't know what's wrong with you. I say fentanyl and you go,
No,
I don't know why. Delicious fen. Well, not fen, that was a diet drug. The diet drug in the 2000s, I got rid of those bastards.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, fen and norepinephrine.
I've heard.
Is it norepinephrine? Yeah, it was then it was a no-dose they took out. It was like an upper, and then fen was another upper that they had to take off the market.
Mm.
I think that's how Kirstie Alley lost all the weight. It wasn't Jenny Craig, it was fen.
Yeah.
Early 2000s.
They're using something else for weight loss now.
Ozempic, baby.
Ozempic, yeah.
Did you see that the Kardashians came out with a knockoff? It's like Ozempic, but it's a gummy. They're like getting a class action lawsuit or something already because it doesn't work. There's not enough of anything in it, but they're just selling like fake Ozempic gummies. I love them. Anyway, so we were talking about real drugs.
Yes, which I've never done.
No, you're a wonderful.
I've always found weird ways to do drugs. Weird stuff.
I remember that one time, what was it, Robin's graduation? You had been growing your own.
No, I had made.
Was it opium balls? Little
Opium
black
balls.
nuggets of opium you'd been making in petri dishes.
It was cooked
on the
flaked
shelf of your
opium.
bedroom.
It was cooked flaked opium.
It was delicious, and he had a little Ziploc bag of these little black, like berry-looking things, and he was like,
Yeah.
and I had
Like
an Aquafina bottle filled with warm taka, and I was listening to Judas Priest, and I had my sunglasses on in the sanctuary of it was the Potter's house, T.D. Jakes'
Yeah,
church.
we were both there.
I had my sunglasses on, legs kicked up, drunk, reading the witching hour, like up here so everybody could see it, drinking warm Aquafina vodka, and you had little puppy balls in your jacket pocket, and Mother was displeased. Poor woman.
We were quite drunk too. So.
I mean, and I was being sacrilegious for fun, but now, of course, T.D. Jakes is his own sacrilegious for fun. How the supposedly mighty have fallen. He was never mighty in my eyes, but yeah, he's just been going to Diddy parties all this time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
They call him General High Booty. I think he's
Wow.
I think he's General High Booty because he's a big old bottom. You know, and of course his
No
son.
wonder that guy we know liked him so much. He
Which guy?
starts with a G.
Oh yeah, we can't talk about him.
Now she sees. Now she
Maybe
gets
can
it.
edit it out. Anyway.
I thought
I'm really mad about it. You can't. I have a black flame candle here, and
crazy.
I have a crystal ball that nobody can see.
Yeah, and this
If
is
you
what.
turn it this way and look into it,
Yeah.
it'll show you
It'll
Walmart.
show you. This is what happens when you stop drinking and doing drugs. This
You just
right
stay
here,
weird,
this is
bro.
this is just
Sobriety.
what,
You
what's
get
awaiting
weirder
you.
and weirder. I was just hiding. I was hiding behind the drugs and the
Yeah.
alcohol. I'm much crazier than I ever thought I was.
And now it makes you worry about it sometimes.
Worry about it?
You're like,
Don't
am I a
worry.
little too crazy? Because I worry.
Oh, am I supposed to worry about it? Because I don't worry about
I
it.
worry about it.
It's not shots in the penis. It's okay. It's not alcohol.
No, this is a raspberry monster. Mm.
He does drink a absurd amount of Monster.
Well, I don't know why. I guess it was because after the meth there was the cocaine. Oh, we're talking about club get too and how it was always there. It's just kind of filtering in and out. It didn't really become like an issue until later. Everything is just slowly built up and like
Yeah, that's how it happens.
it gets so normalized. You're just like, well, yeah, I'll take a bump, and then before you know it, you're like, bump's not really enough.
And then you're like, yeah, I gotta do one every morning at least just to get to work.
Well,
Then
what
I gotta
I
do
would-
it while I'm at work.
What
That's
I would-
okay.
What you would do is, you would do cocaine and drink all night, and then you'd wake up. Well, not wake up. You'd get yourself together, kind of freaking out in the mirror, and then be like, well, definitely, I need some more. So then you're out. So then you're with your friend, in a beat up Honda Civic, sitting in the Tom Thumb parking lot at 8:30 a.m., waiting for the man to come give you more coke so you can take it with you to work, and you get a little bit of you do some vodka Red Bulls, As I would do. I would go to the bar across the street, bang some vodka Red Bulls and some kamikaze shots, do about 3 lines of cocaine. Do that twice, and you can make it through a whole shift after staying up all night.
Yeah, it's horrible, but
I don't know. I remember kind of having fun, listening to a lot of Aerosmith and a lot of Eagles. Every time I hear Aerosmith or the Eagles, I'm or Motley Crue's Kickstart My Heart. I used to do lines to Kickstart My Heart.
see,
Okay, well, that still makes me just so reminiscent.
I got too paranoid when I would do things like if I did a bunch of amphetamine and alcohol, I would get paranoid very badly.
That's
But then I would be
Adderall,
if I did opiates, specifically poppy seeds, opium with it, then I'd be okay. I'd even out, feel
back
great.
to normal again.
I had to do that, otherwise I would be like thinking people were talking shit about me and
So
things like that.
I felt like the paranoia was stronger with Adderall when I would snort that. Because
I
I
can
would
see
snort
that.
that too. It was very. I loved it. It's called insufflation, and it's all I like to do. It's my. Steven Tyler called it his preferred method of drugs. He even snorted Blue Nesta. Like I'll just
Some
I have
people
to
love
fight
it.
the urge.
Some
to
people
snort
love
things.
boofing it, but
Everybody
I
has
love-
that friend who likes to boof it, but I
I
never.
tried that with one thing. I don't know
I
why
can't
did
even.
that.
I don't like to put. I'm a top.
Yeah, it's a
I'm not
lot of
walking
it's a
these
lot
on
of
my ass.
work. It could be real close to IVing is what they say, but it's a lot of work typically.
Like you can kill yourself if you do that vodka soaked tampon into
Yes,
that thing.
please don't put vodka up your ass or in your vagina. No holes, just in your mouth.
No
You're
holes
gonna do
in
it.
your mouth. I say no, don't put it in your mouth either. This is the
If you're
sobriety
gonna do it,
podcast.
I know, but if you're
What-
going to do it in your mouth.
What
please
in
don't do it
God's
in
name am
your
I talking about? Heaven forfend. And now we're clean living.
mouth.
Clean living. Filled with,
Yeah.
I take so many fucking vitamins now. Just counteracting everything. I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, all Gen X are pretty much Steve-O's. They're all.
I'm
Just
not really
just-
Gen X or millennial. I'm
Well, you're right there on the
something new,
edge.
I'm something in between.
Elder millennial.
I reject several titles. Don't put that anywhere near my. Okay. I reject several titles. I do not like geriatric millennial for sure. That's ridiculous. I don't like the Oregon Trail generation because I didn't even play that. It was like
The Oregon Trail generation.
yeah, that's something that costs it. That's like all
I know
Zennials. Zennials.
Mm.
I don't really with the next, like half X, half millennial. I mean, I'll take Zennial. And Elder Millennial's fine. I mean, as we know, Eliza Schlesinger, one of my favorite comics, she kind of christened it as, it's the name of one of her specials. I don't mind that because especially being an elder queer on top of it. It's funny, like, I don't realize it until, like me and my dad were Parks Mall in Arlington, and we went to Starbucks. And there were and the whole, of course, it's like non-binary, cute haircuts, the whole deal. And they're being so nice to me, and they're like, oh my God, I love this, I love what you're wearing, I love your jewelry. And he's like, you're an elder queer in the community. He's like, look at all the silver in your hair. He's like, you're showing them that it can be done. They're just amazed that you're still here. I was like, well, that's true. I did lose a lot of friends. Not everybody made it.
Yeah.
Being 40,
Crystal meth took a lot of them.
I'll be 43 in December, and 43 and gay in the South. I saw the 80s, I saw the 90s, I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there wasn't much good. Because, I mean, I grew up in the primetime bullying. The 80s and 90s were unparalleled. There was no checks and balances. The teachers would bully you, too. Like, I remember the first times I got bullied.
That even happened to me in 98.
I was comparing hand sizes one time in the playground in 3rd grade with my friend Patrick Grady. He was the only guy that was ever nice to me in school. Boys were never nice to me. But he was nice to me, and we were comparing hand sizes. He had bigger hands than me. And the teacher from the head of the line, we're all lined up on the playground to go back to class. She goes, "Y'all quit holding hands." And that's when it started. I think I caught it the first time in 3rd grade. I didn't even know what it meant. I don't know if the kid knew what it meant that called me that either. I was like,
probably not.
We were like 9, but somehow, you know how it is. The kids know, and like, and I always had, you can. This voice was even higher. I mean, I was Minnie Mouse before puberty.
Yeah. I would not have wanted to go to elementary school in the 80s, but I went in the 90s.
It was even
and
a
it
nice
wasn't
one.
that bad. It was as the 80s one. In the 90s, it was still pretty rough.
The 90s were awful. No, I mean,
the teacher was,
both my brothers got
mean
called
as hell.
fags for being artistic and communicative. A man in the South to be artistic, communicative, or empathetic in any way, or else you are.
Yeah.
I don't know why that.
We were called.
Our brother-in-law had the same problem.
By the time I got to 7th grade, it was an extremely common term.
Oh, we can tell them at the time. One of your first fights in the trailer park was because they were calling me gay, and you got mad. They were calling something gay as a synonym for stupid, and you said my brother's gay, and he's the smartest person I know. Stop using that. It was very astute of you. You were like 12, and then they went into it with you, and you beat their asses actually. But,
sometimes I get in a lot of fights. Sometimes I won, sometimes I didn't. It depends.
You only won. You had that rage.
Well, there's also kids are like 2 or 3 older than me,
unquenchable rage that you have.
But
you hide it well.
I don't have any rage. I am extremely.
You're one of the saddest people I've ever met, and we all know that sadness is just anger turned inwards.
Sadness is anger.
Sorry, you're not the saddest person. No, that's not true. I'm pretty sad too.
Mom.
And I know, a whole family suffers from a deep in the body melancholy.
Yeah. Our whole family suffers from Eeyoreism.
I mean,
all Eeyores.
I'm the bright shining light, if you can believe it. Although when my brother Dylan flicks his hair in the sunlight, do it.
I can't. My hair.
Flick your mane. Yes, flick your mane in the fluorescent lights.
I did. It didn't work.
Delicious.
Yeah, I forgot that thing. So sorry. I did the hair thing he said to do.
I was trying to get him to flip his hair to bring light into the world, and apparently we just unplugged some shit because that's how it always goes.
Yeah. Well. Okay. What
do you want to talk about?
Like I said, it's supposed to be a recovery podcast, but we don't do much recovering.
I mean, recovering is just like so constant for me. Like, let's see, what am I at right now? I'm gonna check my days.
Well, that's why I use the phrase active recovery. Cause
I love bidets. Love this app.
You love bidets?
No, my days. I love my days. 3 years, 9 months, and 13 days. 1,383 days.
Yeah, it's interesting. He keeps track of the days. I've tried that. That always made it worse for me. I don't keep track of the days.
It makes it. When it gets bad. It gets bad in the 2nd year when you're keeping track of the days. But I'm in year 3, and it's like, oh, that's just cool. I don't even care. It's like there's something about the first year is fun to keep track of the days. The 2nd year is really hard. 2nd year sobriety is not talked about enough, and it is very, very unpleasant, because that's when you really start having to face the fact that there's literally nothing in life that isn't connected to alcohol society-wise, and that's the big problem. It's always been the problem for me, is that everything in life, celebration, sadness, boredom, whatever it is, the only solution is to drink. You can't turn anything, trying to watch a nice news program on YouTube, find out about, Madam President Kamala, soon to be, boom, Specs ad. Boom, Specs ad. Then it's a Chili's ad, and that's a turn-off ad. I'm like, and they're like, it's summer, you should drink. It's Halloween, you should drink. It's the 4th of July, let's drink. It can't even...
You went to work! You should drink.
I'm surprised. The only thing they haven't co-opted yet for alcohol is Easter, and they still have communion, so I don't know, that's still drinking. I think...
Oh, no, it's like that stupid Modelo commercial where they're like, you're a warrior, and it's a guy at a kitchen, working a kitchen, working his own restaurant. And then they say, this is your reward. It's Modelo. I'm like, that's what they
yeah, okay. It's a reward for working. Why? So you can feel like shit tomorrow?
So you
have a hangover, and then as a line cook, you're working in a restaurant, you're definitely going to be doing a line of coke or having some Adderall. Because I've never been a line cook in my life. Yes. I am deep service industry. We can talk about that at a later date. But
if they work in the kitchen,
I've been a cook. I've been running the cooks and servers.
There's always drugs and drink in the kitchen.
Everyone is drinking and drugging and fucking their brains out.
A lot of Adderall.
A lot of love triangles and Adderall. That's all the kitchen is. Love triangles and Adderall.
But yeah,
it's hard because you don't. The first year you're kind of flying high on the fact that you're clean and it's exciting, and you're experiencing sunlight. Like by the first year, you can appreciate sunlight once again, because sunlight, at least for me, really became my enemy. Being a nightlife person for as long as I was, I could not appreciate it anymore. I wanted everything to be. I still like everything dark, and I think like I have a lot of fluorescent lights and stuff. I like the neon life, but I don't know if that would have always been the case because I was born in the 80s and it's just there's a lot of that going on with disco balls and pink lights. But I don't. Yeah, but now I can actually appreciate a sunny sky. It's not because I live in the South.
If it's not too hot.
Well, because I live in the South, it can't be too hot. So I'm thinking, in other places, sunny skies are even better. But the first year, you're like at that. And by the second year, you start realizing that you can't participate in certain aspects of life anymore. I was watching, my second year of watching a Pink documentary about Pink the singer. And it was like after a show, and they were all together, and they were all having a little champagne. And I'm like, look at them have a little bit of champagne. And I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. And I'm like, you know exactly what would fucking happen if you did that. You would have a little champagne, and then you'd be like, vodka tonic. And then another vodka tonic. And then maybe some shots because you're celebrating. And I realized that it's just this sad connection that there's a certain element of life and celebration and communion that you're not going to have anymore as a sober person. Because you can't control yourself. It's like you drank it all. You had enough. You drank more than anybody normal would ever drink in their whole lives, and it's like it's almost like you have to pay a price. And that second year is hard because you feel like you're missing out on stuff. But by the third year, I'm kind of like, well, I'm actually not. And you start realizing that you're more together. Your jokes are better at family dinners. You're not embarrassing yourself anymore. You never have to apologize. You start seeing other people. Things. You see other people acting up, and you're like, oh, I remember what that was like. But yeah, the second year is really hard, and it gets no press as being hard. It's a realization year. And also a lot of your emotions come back to the surface. The ones you buried for a long time, and you have to actually talk to yourself about them. Like, what are you really feeling? I did a lot of what am I really feeling? Like I would feel the urge or something, and I'd have to deconstructing the urge to drink into an emotion, and then what was hiding behind that emotion. Because usually it's the secondary emotions driving it. Like, what did my old therapist say? Like, what do you feel? And I'd say angry, and she'd be like, what's underneath it? And I'd be like, just the more anger. And she'd be like, that's not what's deep underneath anger. It. And eventually it's always fear. It's always some kind of fear.
Yeah,
fear of the unknown, fear of the outside, fear of people seeing you, fear of being exposed.
Fear is the base human emotion that everyone shares no matter what. Well,
like, what do the kids say these days? What is it? It's not even being seen. It's like they're all afraid of being observed or whatever. I can't remember the term now. Yeah, they're like perceived. They don't want to be perceived. They're like, oh, I'm being perceived right now. And it's like when you get sober, you have to really deal with the fact that of course you're being perceived. Everyone's being perceived. And one of the base driving things behind substance abuse is the muffling effect. I used to use it. I started in high school to muffle the amount of abuse, because I would come out of the classroom, and as soon as the door opened, I went down the hall, it'd just be faggot, cocksucker, faggot, everywhere. They threw rocks at me, they would spit in my seat before I could pick hot loogies in my seat before I'd walk in. So I would use it as a buffer. So but it's underneath that is just the fear, and it's that. And that you will be perceived, and that people often don't react well when they perceive you. Or they perceive you wrongly.
And that is sort of... that drives a lot of generation right now. Not wanting to be perceived and right thought about it.
Yeah,
They're scared of it, because that's where all this really extreme cancel stuff comes from.
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't go out as much. The clubbing scene's not the same. See, I would go out, and we didn't really think about it, because... Well, maybe to avoid being perceived, you wore a lot of makeup, costumes. That's all hiding mechanisms, too. So you dress up, then you drink. Before you know it, who are you? I mean, honestly, who are you? And that was the problem I had to face after I got sober, was who the fuck am I? What do I? And honestly, you have to go back to everything you liked as a child. You got to go back and just think of what you liked as a kid, and then try to do that. I did a lot of that. I got some action figures I wanted. I did little things when I got sober to kind of like, that's why there's action figures in my room and pictures of nostalgic things, because I wanted to try to reconnect with that part of me to find myself again. Because my therapist was like, you don't even know who you are. And I got really mad about that. I told my sister, Rosalinda, and she was mad for me because, you know, she's an Aries and I'm a Sagittarius, and, you know, fire signs, you know, we will burn your village to the ground. But then I told Mom, a Taurus, and she was like, well, honey, who are you? And I had to face the fact that I only was a party boy, and and Mom was like, she's not saying that you're not somebody, you're taking it the wrong way. She was like, she's saying you don't know who you are. Not that you're nobody, that you don't actually know who you are because you've been running with things for so long. And I was like, oh, I guess I got to find out who I am again. And by the third year, you've actually kind of got a better handle on it. But the second year is ugly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just learned a lot, and I think we have.
Well, you know where you can find me.
Yeah, he's obviously, he's got a book. He's written a book, House of Furies.
HAUS, like fashion houses.
And
House of Gucci, or House Labs, very
Yeah, I just attended the.
Gaga's copying me, obviously, with House Labs. This is actually a copy of House of Fury. It's available on Amazon. Mm-hmm. You can on paperback or a Kindle. The Kindle's $4.99. The paperback is $21.99. You can also find me on Instagram at Kitchen Window Boy. My handle pretty much everywhere is Kitchen Window Boy, and we'll discuss why that is at a later date.
She's telling me to do something. What do I need to do?
Like the podcast.
YouTube. Where's your YouTube?
What is my YouTube?
Red Riding Room. Red Riding Room.
No, I have a YouTube channel. It's called The Red Riding Room. And it's just, that's a recovery channel. And it's good. I mean, you're seeing this, you're probably on it already, but.
You can also follow Red Riding Room on Instagram.
Yeah. I do have an Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest social media guy.
And I'm Donnie Disruptor on Facebook if you want to follow me there, but I prefer you follow me on Kitchen Window Boy. Or author Donnie Clark on TikTok.
Alright. Well, bye.
Bye.